Hey, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, the channel that brings you monster manual entries all the time. And we're back in the 3.5 with the Couatl, or I'm sorry, the Couatl, which is a 12-foot long, 15-foot wingspan, beautiful dragon with rainbow wings. And this is what we've made, and I noticed after I painted him that he has a wonky spot, but it's a little late now. So what I'm going to do is, since he's green and he's going to have different light colors, I'm going to get some white here, and I'm going to start lightening him up a lot. And we're going to work from there. Now, don't forget you have a toothpick for a base if you followed along with me. And if you use something different or better, good for you, but I didn't. So we can't beat on this thing. We got to do this a little bit gentle. I mean, it's sturdy-ish, but it's not super sturdy. I did not like those wings when we used them last video, which was really just 20 minutes ago or so. But now that I'm starting to dry brush them out and get some color and see some texture, I do kind of like these wings. And I think we can do something with these to get rainbow wings going. But we'll see soon enough, right? My heart is heavy today, my dudes. I did pass my certification exam that I didn't really study for much, so that was a relief. But my heart is heavy, man. There are people in the world suffering, people in my life that are suffering, and just like the people you know, most of the time when people are suffering, it has a lot to do with their own choices they've made. But it still hurts my heart that I can't just reach in and make it all better. Hit him again. La, 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 la. All right. So let's look at our body here. We know his body's a green color, and it's supposed to be two-toned, like an under and over, but since we didn't craft him with a definitive over-under, I think we're going to have to do that a little bit differently. So I'm just going to get some paint here. I'm going to get this Craft Smart Limeade. Let's get something we can mix in. And let's get a little bit of light gray. This is called Elephant Gray. It's a little watery, but that's all right. We're mixing anyways. And let's stir that up and get a look and see what that looks like. All right, that took away some of that bright kiwi-ish look that we had there that I wasn't real pleased with. Okay. So I'm going to get a little bit of water. And I'm going to use this kind of thin. We're going to get a real nice even base coat on him. And this might take us 2 shots. Try to avoid the wings if you can. Some funky stuff peeling off of him. Let me wipe that off on a t-shirt. There we go. Get some more water. Let's just keep going with this real thin, even coat. So once in a campaign, My oldest son always likes to like try to do different weird things. Like one time we made a custom class for 3.5 called the Puppeteer that essentially he could bind things into puppets or find pre-existing magic puppets in the world. And he had a puppet box that he stole from a circus in the Feywild. That was like the beginning of his story, is that he escaped. He had been kidnapped as a kid, and the Fey used him as labor to entertain them with puppet shows. And then he came out of the Feywild as like a 30-year-old man, because he aged rapidly when he came out. He was still a child when he escaped. But the 30 years he had been gone caught up to him almost, or 20 years or whatever it was. So he came out as a man, but he still had the ability to talk to these magic puppets with this box. And he could pull puppets out and they could do things. Like one puppet could shoot arrows. It was an archer. And they did less damage because they were smaller than a regular bow. But they were still usable. And he had different puppets that did different things. He had puppets that gave him bonuses to fighting, and puppets that gave him temporary hit points, and puppets that gave him defense and stuff, It was just an idea we came up with and worked with, and it was fun. And anyways, that character, at some point, I had used the god Couatl in an item called Quetzalcoatl's cloak, and it was a rainbow cloak. And when he put it on, it boosted his charisma by like 4. This is my favorite color on Earth. It's called Pavement by Apple Barrel, a cheapy Walmart paint. If you've been sleeping on this paint, it's time to wake up. I love using this as the base coat for my cartoony looking fantasy rocks. Love it. A lot. So these guys tend to be in air up in the mountains and in high areas. So we're going to do this like a mountain rock base and not do the brown I usually use. And I think we've had quite a few of these with the rock bases lately, which it's not my favorite, but you got to go with. It's better than that terrible beach base I made the other day. That was just terrible and bad. So that's mostly the right color now. Let's get this put up. We've done a couple cool custom characters for different people over time. But with the new Tomorrow Comes Doom system, that doesn't really happen anymore because you're not limited. There's so many options. Since there's no classes and no levels, you just pick what things you want to get good at, and you get good at them, and you spend your points that you gain from encounters and stuff doing that. So, for example, there's a tier system for adventure points, and it breaks up into 5 tiers. There's like the initiate tier. There's the tier 2, which is like a journeyman. Then there's an advanced. There's the master, and then after you hit 100 adventure points, you're in the legendary tier. So you can have access to feats from any tier that you're in or below. Okay, so the way you increase your character is by spending points to boost their attributes, their proficiencies, which are like skills, and their talents, which are like feats. And you build your character out indefinitely, and you can build it forever, and it doesn't cap out. But you have to have so many adventure points as your base total score of adventure points for tiering up. So you're limited to kind of beginner level things right off the bat. And then as you get a little better and you get above 25 points and you hit that 26 marks, then you enter the next level, the journeyman level, and you build up from there. And it's just I think it's a more fluid system. And if you want to be a caster or anything fancy or special, there are specific talent trees you can take. I call them focuses, that they cost an initial point to buy in, and you can buy some of them as a starting character. Well, most of them you can buy as a starting character, or all of them at this point, I think. But they cost less if you buy them when you make your character. But if you come back and try to learn them later, they cost more. So I'd say he's pretty dry at that point. So what we want to do is we want to darken that up a little bit. So I'm going to reach over here into my Apple Barrel paints. I'm going to get this Arbor Green. It's a darker color. It's a little wet. I'm going to drop some of that in there. And let's stir that up and see how that looks. Spider webs. Okay. That's a little darker. some kind of string in here. It's like a piece of like paint goo. All right, this is pretty watered down right here already. I'm just gonna get my wet brush and grab some of this, and then we're gonna try to mist the bottom of him if we can. Okay, so we're just gonna drag this along the top and try to do like the top, like 60% of him, and leave like the bottom 40 unpainted. Okay. Something like this. And it looks a little cartoony and dumb. I don't know how to fix that. Maybe with a wash afterwards. I don't know. So now let's look at wings. Roy G. Biv is the rainbow colors. So we need red. Orange. This feels a little wet. I hope it's not too wet. Yellow. So that's what we need to do the wings. So my thought is, oops, we start inward and work our way outward. So what I'm going to do is get this red, and I'm going to do just the inside part of his wing. And I'm going to make sure I get it in all the little cracks and everything. I'm going to start working my way out. Okay? If you're following along at home, I'm not making any promises here. Okay. Make sure you get the fronts, the backs. We're going to wash our brush out. We're going to hit him with the +2 hot air gun of burning. Let's go over with our orange. Now on feathers, this might have been a lot easier to do because we could have had some like layers to pick into and made some of these feathers this color and some of this color and kind of blended them out. But that's okay. We're just going to do our best here. I thought about trying to do it as a gradient, and I was like, we just don't have a lot of room to play with for a gradient. Make sure you're getting in all those little cracks. Alright, throw that brush down. Let's hit him with the +2 hot air gun of burning. I'm going to do this off screen because I don't want to start drying this up. Okay. Okay. I'm hitting him with a +2 hot air gun off screen again real quick. And we're starting on green. And then since his body is already kind of green, I'm trying to do this as like the smallest stripe, I guess. I kind of already did that accidentally with the red by going over it with the orange, but so I'm going to hit him with the +2 hot air gun of burning again. I'm doing it off screen so I don't dry those, like I said. Mistakes were almost made there if you were watching. Hitting this is a hot air gun again. Blow, blow. I feel like that color difference is quite enough. There we go. Something like that. All right. Same deal. Hot air gun. Be right back. And we're going to hit him with the air gun again. And I want to do his tips in white. Alright, so he's got some teeth on his face. Let's get a tiny brush. See if we can't pick those out. I don't think we can. There's just, it's too hard. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We'll get his little horn. He's got like a little crest on his head here, a little like a crest of ridges, a ridge of crests. I don't know whatever this is. We'll do that in white too. Okay. Does he have colored eyes in the book? They're not really colored in. They look red, maybe. We're going to do a white dot. I'm getting a small brush out here. And I'm going to just drag that in those little eye recesses. We're going to hit him with the brush, or the hot air gun. We're going to get that red. Just dab those little dots on there like that. Not real happy with him. Let's get a brush like that we can kind of dry brush with. Something kind of crappy, but something that gives us some coverage. Let's get a lighter green going. And let's dry brush him out a little bit with a lighter green. So, where's that gray I had? We'll just use white. Alright, so we're just going to get white and green. And let's just try to catch a little texture on him to make him look a little less plain. But let's be real careful, because we don't want to mess up any of the work we've done on those wings. If we were real smart, I think we could do something cool with these wings, but I'm worried about messing them up. But I think if you wanted to take the step to dry brush those, a shade or lighter shade on top, that would look good. Let's do his base now. We're getting a medium gray. This is called pewter. Let's just hit that base up with it and break up all that one color of pavement that I love. Okay. We can just get some of that and lighten it up with this little bit of white here. We're not looking for ultra realism on our stones, remember. This is a fantasy game. And as much as you want ultra realism, you'll never have enough ultra realism on your table. So if you want to focus on creating an immersive world, I would say go for the high fantasy look and try to capture with that. I think that doing a green wash or a green speed paint on him would make him look a little better, but we are over time. We're going to paint for 30 minutes. We're at 34. If you like what we're doing here, thanks for watching. We're going to clear coat him, take him upstairs, take some thumbnails, all that happy crappy. If you like what we're doing, like, subscribe, share, use the notification bell icon. Go to the website, pick out some minis, use the discount code to get 25% off your first month of the Loot Crate. Buy some one-off minis or get a free one-off random mini sent directly to your door at no expense to you. Give us a fair shot, try our minis out, see if you like them, and then if you do buy them. So either way, I'm Doom. I'm Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I'm one half of the Dungeon Swag team, and this is the Couatl. Thanks for watching.